Hi guys, welcome to a new series that I'm kind of thinking of creating. It's going to be sort of a series that showcases a specific deck. I'm going to talk a little bit about like strategies, card choices I've made, why I've made them, land placement, all of that good stuff. I will put timestamps below in the description as well, so you guys can jump ahead if you don't want to listen to me talk about certain things. So this is a deck that doesn't require any DLC. It will take a little bit to build up your collection towards it if you are a new player. The YouTuber Ojama Mask posted a blue starter deck guide, which is much easier to craft at the beginning when you're starting off. But this is something when you want to get into a little bit more competitive. I feel this deck is very strong, and you can get up quite high on ladder. Common misconception in Faeria is that you need DLC to win, and that's certainly not true. Especially experienced players can make it to the top 10, I feel, without using any DLC. They're commonly seen in tournaments as well. I think the very last tournament that I entered, one guy brought only no DLC decks and he made it to top 3. So, anyways, let's get into this. So this is a blue jump deck. It's a very fast-paced deck. It only has a 4 land requirement, and this is very important to note when you're building your decks. So a lot of decks out there on ladder are either, they could be rush, or a lot of them have a 6 land requirement, so they're a lot slower than this. And then when you build up to 4 lands, it just allows you to get access to using the +1 or draw options on the power wheel a lot earlier on, which can be quite a huge advantage. And jump creatures are very mobile. They have a large threat range on the board, so that makes them quite powerful as well. So these 3 guys right here, these are going to be your starting creatures. And if you don't have any one of these in your opening hand, you're going to want to do a full mulligan in hopes of getting one of these. So I'll just talk a little bit about each card. Not each card, but some of the cards and the choices that I've made. So obviously, jump is kind of what this deck is based around. It just it gives you that extra mobility. And paired with Sunken Tower, it can be quite powerful. Your jump just lets them get 1 additional range on their movement, and you can start pegging off your opponent's creatures quite easily. One of your sort of ideas with this deck is to push down the opposite side of your opponent's walls. I'll get a little bit into land placement later, but if you can push down the opposite side that your opponent's going down, it allows you to get access to a lake on your opponent's well, which is very powerful with this Mystic Beast. When he's summoned on an adjacent well, he becomes a 4/5 with jump, which is very good value for a 3 cost. So you really want to push up to your opponent's wells for that Mystic Beast spot, and also for these Wave Crash Colossus, because every time you harvest off of an enemy well, his cost gets discounted by 1, down to a minimum of 4, so this is kind of your win condition here, dropping 4 cost 7/7s right next to your opponent's face. Can be very scary to deal with. When you're starting off also, you don't have access to all these cards, and you only get 6 crafting charges to work with, so I'll talk a little bit about alternative cards you can use as well. First one being Triton Trainer. A lot of players like to use this card, even over top of some of these cards. It can be quite strong, giving 1/1 to the next jump creature you summon, so this can be used on anything with jump, of course, but it can be very effective on Ninja Toads, who have haste. So if you play Triton Trainer first, and then Ninja Toad after, you've got a 4/3 with haste, which can be quite the surprise for your opponent. The only thing I don't like about this creature is the 2 life stat That's the only reason that I usually don't run him. There's a lot of 2 damage removal in Faeria, but like I said, a lot of players really like this card, and it's not a bad card for sure. So another card is Prophet of Tides. This can be a very effective card early game. You get to move this creature's land twice when you play him. So if you have Prophet in your opening hand, it's very strong because you can push very quickly to your opponent's well, which, like I said, is kind of the game plan for this deck. The only issue with this, again, is 2 life, which doesn't matter so much because you're worried about the ability here. But when you draw Prophet late game, they're kind of useless. They don't... Like you've already built your lands where you want them, pushed up to the opponent's wells, so they can be a little bit not so useful in late game. But again, it's a very good option, and players run this card as well. Very strong. Another one, and this one's not as good a pick, but Gabrian Archon can be used if you're just looking for deck filler until you can craft this sort of deck up. It's very similar to Triton Warrior in that it's a 4/4. It's got Charge 2, which is strictly just a worse jump. It can only move in a straight line, and it can't hop over obstacles or over lake obstacles. And when you've got Sunken Towers going, it kind of messes with your lands a little bit, and these do need to have a straight path of lands in order to move. And this 2/2 plus 2/2, when you've played 2 cards with base cost 7 or higher, that can look pretty juicy at first glance. But in this particular deck, you don't have a lot of base cost 7 or higher cards. The only ones are Mirror Phantasm and Colossus, which Colossus come down more late game. Phantasm is sort of a trick, so you don't want to be in a situation where you're forced to play this just to buff up an Archon. You kind of want to save this until the most opportune moment. So that's one of the reasons I don't like Archon. So let's see if I can find Humbling Vision. So in this deck, I'm running 1 Humbling Vision and 2 Frogifies. Always a debate between players which one to use. Humbling Vision is 1 less Faeria cost, which can make a huge difference in games sometimes. So the difference, this halves a creature's base attack and life, and this simply transforms them into a 2/2 frog. The other thing to note is that this costs 4 lakes, this costs only 2. I like having Frogifies in my deck just for things that I can't deal with right away on board. Maybe I feel the transform effect is very important if they're like combat creatures that I don't want to just reduce the life, the stats of and hit into with my creatures. Maybe Frogify is a better option there. Or if it's something across the map, like Emperor Chaos or something that's very spooky and I need to deal with it, but I can't, the Frogifies are very nice for that. But in general, Humbling Vision is kind of the card you want to be using because it is cheap cost. If they are a 5/5, they get reduced to a 2/2, which is exact same value as Frogify. So in theory, Frogify is only good on 6/6s or better. But it also depends on what you're facing on ladder. If there's a lot of very large creatures or creatures that you want the transform effect for, then you could swap around these numbers a little bit, maybe put 3 Frogify, no Humblings, or vice versa. If there's not a lot of large creatures you need the transform for, then add some more Humbling Visions. Last card I just want to talk about, where is he? I think it's 5 cost. So this is no DLC. If you do have the DLC, however, Tidelord is a very good card to include in your deck. I've run a similar list, fighting my way up on ladder, using Tidelords, and it's pretty much an identical list. just with 3 Tide Lords, and I've done incredibly well, ranked quite high on ladder using this kind of list. So I think Tide Lord, if you wanted to swap that in, I would probably take out probably a Ninja Toad, probably the Humbling Vision. Only 2 Frogifies would be necessary there. And then maybe like a Tower or an Emperor's Command as the 3rd takeout. And these cards kind of depend. If you're facing a lot of burn on ladder, Emperor's Command can be very good for the heal. If you're not facing burn on ladder, cutting 1 Emperor's Command isn't the worst. The 3 structure damage can also be quite nice. So let's get into some land placement and see how to strategize that way. So when you're placing lands down, you almost always want to take this center lake spot here. I would say 99% of the time you want this center lake tile. Sometimes if you know that they're playing rush, it may be an option to go to the sides. Defending against rush is kind of a different video altogether, but you don't usually know, if you're playing on ladder, you don't usually know what deck your opponent's playing. So to me, it's always a safe bet to put lake center tile, no matter what your starting hand is. And so the idea is you want to build across to one certain side and then up the walls like this, trying to claim this as your Mystic Beast spot. And as I said earlier also, you want to go to the opposite side that your opponent's going down. So here my opponent started center tile. So I don't know which side he's going to invest in yet, but generally, because I'm going second, I've got the Explore. He can only place a colored land here. It's very unlikely he plays double neutral, and if he is, it's a very strange deck. So, Water Ellie in a starting hand with Explore is very powerful, because you can play Water Elemental turn 1 this way. The Explore gives you 2 extra Faeria, which gives you the necessary Faeria to play this. And yeah, because he can't extend to this tile right away, my play would be dropping my leg here and investing in this side. So in this situation, we are going first this time. So I've dropped my lake, I'd pass turn, see what he does. Well, let's see what he does. Sometimes the AI does some strange things. Okay. Okay, so normally with this, obviously I want to go opposite side, like I was saying earlier. He's already invested into this right side, so now I have free reign to push down this side. If he hadn't have played that Explore, if he just played the Mountain, I'm not really sure which side he's going to go down. And he does have the Explore in hand, so he can go Explore and then Colored Land if I decide to invest too heavily into one side. Your prime lake spots in this matchup, you only want to build 4 lakes, because that's the requirement. Frogify is the highest land requirement in this deck. So you want to be very careful about where you're putting your lakes, because you don't want to build more than is necessary. And the prime lake spots in this deck are going to be all of the spots on the wells. So here, center, and then here. And this just means that any jump creatures that come down on these spots in the future, it gives them a really good position, because they can hop between the wells for double collect. If they're here, they have the option to hop down there to collect, or they have the option to go face. So these are kind of the 3 lake spots that you want to prioritize getting. And having Water Alley opener is very nice, because we can set those lake spots up by using our double neutrals. So I'll show you a cool trick we can do like this. So I'm going to place 1 neutral, and I'm going to right click to cancel. And this way I can get my lake spot right where I want it, and then I can build my second neutral up this way. So this is a very powerful opener, but not so powerful if he hadn't played that Explorer like I was saying, and I don't know which side he's going to. So if he had just played the Mountain, I may not want to do this play. I may want to go neutral Lake, but then place the second neutral on the other side, and kind of, this way I haven't invested everything into going left side, all of my lands there. Because he would just have to explore colored land, and now I'm kind of messed up a little bit. But if he did that play, and I had put that neutral over here, then I could switch sides. And I do lose these 2 lands as, but that's okay. Sometimes that has to happen. At least I'm not losing everything. But yes, certainly in this case, this is a strong opener. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So 3 lakes, here, 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 and then your 4th lake is kind of situational. Sometimes having a lake here is okay as well, because that sets up good Colossus spots where they can both collect from the well and threaten the face. So these 2 as lake spots are pretty nice to have. Alright, so let's get into a game or two and see how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are with our starting hand. Got one of our starting creatures, which is very nice to have. Mystic Beast is a little bit difficult to set up right off the bat, so I think I'm going to toss that away. And Emperor's Command's a nice trick to have in hand. And we got the Water Ellie opener, so that's perfect. So he's invested into one side, which means I'm free to go opposite side like this. Emperor's Command is nice to clear this afterwards if he doesn't drop anything else. So now I may even consider dropping Warrior to fight something that comes down here instead of the Emperor's Command. Another option is to double neutral. But I'm a little bit frightened of Flame Burst coming down as well. I kind of want a creature to stick. So I think I'm going to drop a 3rd lake here, and then Triton Warrior for fighting things. And this way I've only built 3 lakes. I can claim my 4th lake on my Mystic Beast spot, and I'll be quite happy with that. And now we've got the Brute to deal with. So the stats don't line up quite so nicely with this hand. So I really want to drop this Mystic Beast. Could be a little awkward with this guy here. So losing out on the collection doesn't feel too good because I really want to get this Colossus discounted. But I think in this case I may just give up my collection and drop Mystic Beasts there and command this. Yeah, I think I might do that. It does play into Firestorm a little bit, so I'm not super keen on that. But we're gonna go for it. Let's see if we get the punish. I don't see Firestorm running around a lot on ladder these days. So we'll see what happens. Divine Guardian. So this could be something like a control deck. I'm not sure to, not just, We'll see what happens. So no Firestorm, I'm happy about that. I'm gonna draw a card because nothing in my hand looks super tasty. And now, because he is playing burn and a lot of burn spells and things, so normally I'd hit my Triton Warrior into that, but having the 1 life makes my creatures very easy to remove. So I think I'm actually going to sacrifice my Water Elemental here, save the life of my Triton Warrior. And I'll be playing Water Elemental, so what I think I'm going to do is probably hop onto this mountain tile. Stops him from placing anything there. And I'll put this Water Ellie back here. Take this aggressive lake for Colossus spots later on. It's likely that he finds a Flame Burst at some point, but there's a Hellfire. Oof. Very lucky pings. So if he has Cypher's Wrath, okay. I'm very sad about that. That was quite good RNG luck on his part. So I'm just going to draw. I have 4 Faeria. I can play a lot of things with 4 Faeria. So this is a little bit sad. I'm almost debating playing the Ninja Toad for a 2 cost. By collecting off both of these wells and reducing the cost of Colossus by 1. He used 2 Cypher's Wrath, but it's not super favorable. I think I'm going to do that because this style of deck he's playing doesn't usually have that many creatures. So Ninja Toad may not be that useful in fighting creatures anyways in the future. And maybe I should have gone here and jumped here, actually, because he can play a taunt. Just a Bloodsinger. Alright, so now I really want to get my Wave Crash down. I'm going to go up to 7 Faeria. So I'm probably going to draw in hopes for Emperor's Command. I'm going to need some heals soon. If not, I can use the Sunken Tower to kind of mess his lands up a little bit. And I'm not going to put this aggressive. I need as much collection as possible right now. And yeah, I'm just going to use my tower now to kind of force him to build another land if he wants to grab that collection. This is kind of a nice thing you can do with Sunken Tower, because now he's got to build this double neutral and he's not drawing or +1ing because of that. So Hellfire might come down here. Sunken Tower can soak up some of that damage, which is pretty nice. So there's my lucky command. And I'm thinking I definitely want to use this as a heal, because my life total is getting a little bit scary. I can +1 and play something else. So let's yeah, let's move aggressive like this. Clear this. Heal ourselves, and I think I'm going to drop Battletoads. He's going to be on 4 Faeria. So if he has Firestorm in hand, he's got a +1 for it, but it's unlikely that he does since he hasn't played it yet. And he can't play Ground Shaker, which would be a really nice answer to this. So I feel pretty safe having this up aggressive, and then Battletoads probably clumped here is fine. He could have Rakoacopter. Yeah, so I'm going to put them here instead then. So Rakoacopter, you can build a mountain, dash Rakoacopter here, and then it does 2 damage to all my creatures. So this kind of plays around that a little bit. Oh, he can't play it anyways. What am I saying? Rakoacopter costs 5 and 3 mountains. Alright, this is very good. So I can go face here. I think... So I want to get the Colossus down for sure and hit into face with this. So I think a double neutral comes down here. Colossus aggressive. And then this next neutral I have to decide. If I put it here, I can kind of block off a Bomb Slinger line, where he can place a mountain and Bomb Slinger into this. He can Bomb Slinger onto this tile anyways, but maybe he wants to play something else there. Other option is to start going down this other side, but I think the game's going to be closed out quite quickly. So if it was going to go on a little bit longer, I'd probably put it this side. But I think I want to do it this way. And I really don't want to plan to Firestorm now, because if I move this toad up, it's quite the punish. Maybe that's okay though. No, we're just going to stay here. Maybe hop up. That doesn't really do anything though. I could probably just keep him there. And then I have the option to go down to the other side. He can +1 into Garrodan, which doesn't save him, so I'm fine with that. Derelict Tower. Alright, so I'm just going to keep drawing for heals. And other things such as that. I also need a Ninja Toad if I want to finish this game. So once I even get him down to a low life, this Divine Guardian protects him. So... Probably just going to go center. This way I can test all of these spots if I want to hit into something else. And now, because I'm really wanting to close this game out, normally I'd put the warrior here, but I'm thinking about this spot just so he can have the range to target everything over here. And then my toads definitely don't want to hit into this. So I'm going to move this back here. And let's see what happens. So yeah, I do need 2 more hits into face because of this Divine Guardian. So if he has a way to deal with one of these, I'm not super happy. Debating going face. So next turn, if he has a Flame Burst, he wins. So I really need to find something like a Ninja Toad just to finish. Or a heal would be okay. But I've used 2 Emperor's commands already. So it's going to be well played. Was well played. But I don't have a win in hand, so... So he's probably got the win in hand then, if he's saying well played. Okay, that was a mistake. That was very much a mistake. So I actually had the win in hand. I could have sunken towered this Divine Guardian down and double neutraled like this, cleared it, and then gotten the kill. Unfortunately, I did not do that. So I don't think there's a way to do it now. Yeah, he's protected his Derelict Tower specifically for that reason. So I think, actually, I can save myself, possibly, just by doing this. Just to clear this. Perfectly fine with dropping Mystic Beast here, because he will need a Flame Burst to finish that. So if he does have Flame Burst, he can just put it to face anyways. So let's see what happens. I think that was his win there. So let's see if he draws something else that can allow him to win. Looks like he's thinking a little bit about his turn, so maybe he doesn't have it just yet. Can he +1? Alright, so we got another chance to come back from this, but it's pretty likely he has that Flame Burst. No way we can clear this. So definitely just have to draw. Unfortunate. So I think he does take the victory then, in this case, since we have no heal, no way to deal with this. Yeah, so we'll just hit into face and pray that he has nothing. Pretty likely he's got the Flame Burst. Ooh, another Divine Guardian. Alright, so that misplay there lost us the game. We could have won from that. So that's unfortunate. But misplays are how we learn. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that and learned something from that. And yeah, if you have any decks you want me to showcase and or archetypes that you want me to showcase, let me know in the comments and I'll try and get to those. I've got a lot of decks that I could work with. I don't think I'll ever run out of decks, but I'd like to hear what you guys want to see, not just what I want to play. Yeah, so other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.